All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Hope you're doing well. Just making sure we are all set. Cool. We are live streaming on our Telegram channel as well. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's see. Where are we? Just get my full screen set up. Switch over here to the charts and let's take a look. So in terms of today's movement so far, stocks are a little bit lower here this morning. We have the countdown to, of course, the big meeting this week, which is tomorrow. The Fed will make their decision as to whether or not to cut interest rates. It is largely expected that they will do so, that they will cut interest rates and then make their move. We'll see what they do. The bigger thing is not necessarily whether they cut interest rates or not, which is pretty expected. The question is whether or not Jerome Powell and the Fed committee are still kind of aligned with the idea of further rate cuts in 2026. Right now, we can see a lot of markets have sort of front run the idea that, okay, we're probably going to get some rate cuts. And interestingly, we do need to keep an eye on yields, because despite rate cuts coming down the pipeline, it's interesting that basically we've seen a rebound here in the 10-year yield. I would watch this, because if you do continue to see bond selling, what that could tell you is that people, the bond market specifically, thinks that there is limited room for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, which I actually kind of think is a fair thing to point out. Let's just take a look really quick. Also, I have on my to-do list today, I want to adjust the navigation bar here a little bit on Edge Finder. Based on what you guys have given us in terms of feedback of your favorite features, I want to put the favorite features further up at the top. Some of the most popular features within Edge Finder: crowd sentiment, COT data, the top setups algorithm, of course, and economic heat maps. So I'm trying to line these things up so that they are a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier to find. We also changed this. Small things, like this is a little too much behind the scenes, but I was watching someone who live streams using Edge Finder, and they were looking for COT data, and they couldn't find it. Now, I know you're like, how could you not find it? It's right there. Well, previously it was called institutional activity, which to me made sense, but sometimes what makes sense to me, the creator of the tool, doesn't necessarily make as intuitive sense to other people. That's where I rely on comments from you guys who are Edge Finder users, as well as users of the tool, to give me that feedback. So without even consciously doing it, this streamer doing this, talking about COT data and then looking for it and being unable to find it, I was like, okay, we're going to change that name to COT data. So now under COT data, you have the latest COT reports as well as COT data history. It's small things like this that I think go a long way in making a product better over time, is making them not just, powerful tools and powerful data, but also easy to read and easy to find what you're looking for. That I actually think is the pot of gold that is Edge Finder. Is we constantly take feedback from users, and we say, like, okay, what is making sense, what is not making sense? And by doing that, I think over time, we still have more work to do, but I think the Edge Finder gets better over time due to that. So for example, like the economic heat map, people really like this feature. And also, can I ask just really quick, for those of you guys who are Edge Finder users yourself, which features do you find yourself looking at the most? If you could just anecdotally, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat really quick. Let me know, which features do you like? Like if you open up your Edge Finder, where are you going? I know a lot of people are going to go to the top setups page. That's intentional. I'm glad that that is the go-to page. All of the surveys we see, people put top setups as the #1, which is excellent. That's the primary, goal of the tool. Is you really, if we've done our job correctly with Edge Finder, you should only need this one tab. You only need this one tab. This gives you the output of the Edge Finder. I mean, I searched up and down when I was building this tool before I set off on the massive campaign that has been building Edge Finder. I looked for this everywhere on the internet and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a simple scoring algorithm laid out in a way that was easy to understand. So we built it. Right? AI scanner is all I need. Yeah, I mean, that's that too. I want to continue to improve this page too. I just speaking out loud, the only thing that bugs me about this page, it would be perfect if I can, and maybe I'll do this over the Christmas break, would be to rebuild this page to include actual and expected values. If I got that on there, it's perfect. This page is perfect too. I mean, it's great as is. It gives you a really good synopsis, and I love this page. We spent quite a bit of time building this page, but the only thing missing on this page is I can't see what the GDP statistics actually are. I can see that it's neutral. I can see that it's bullish. And I see, by the way, when I watch streamers using this, like not myself, people go to this page, and that makes me happy because I'm like, okay, this page is intuitive enough. But the only thing missing is I would love to add some more actual data to this page. I'm going way in depth on things like that, but why can't we search up our own stocks instead of just the ones available in the drop-down menu? The reason is because each one of these has data sets that we've built, curated, for just one of these, right? We have to get the data for every single aspect that you see on this screen. We have to automate that process. We have to bring that in. So Edge Finder has a set list of things that it is available. It's not built for stocks. If you're interested in stocks, check out the stock box. Stock box is our stock variation. It's a whole different data set. But if you're someone who likes stocks, consider checking out the stock box. We have over 130 stocks, mostly major US stocks at this time. You can track financials, technicals, all that sort of stuff within the stock box. If you don't have stock box, look, it matches our green for the stream today. It looks great. But yes, if you're a stock person, get stock box. If you're more of a Forex, futures, commodities person, get Edge Finder. They're both great. But yes, EEIQ, yeah, that one's not on there. Again, it's the challenge, right? Each name, each ticker, each symbol has a whole unique set of data that we have to go get. So it is a lot of work to add symbols, but don't worry. Over time, we will continuously add more features and more symbols to Stockbox as well as to Edge Finder. Okay, I know I just went on a rant about our products. I didn't mean to do that, but just wanted to fill you in on what I was working on here this morning before stream. It's what I'm thinking about. Is there a free trial? There is not a free trial, but we do offer a 30-day paid trial for a low cost. If that's something that you're interested in, I'll tell you why. Again, I'm just going to be real with you. We used to offer free trials, and what happened is people would just switch out their email every week and just continuously do a free trial, which was like, so those people ruined it for everyone. If you're serious about getting set up with a trial, we do have a free demo version. It is a very limited, delayed data version of Edge Finder. If you want to try that, you can fill out this form here. Alternatively, if you fill out this form, it will also send you instructions on how you can get a 30-day paid trial. So with that said, fill out that form if you're interested, and we can get you set up with that. Okay, so taking a look here, NASDAQ, S&P 500, a little soft here this morning. I remain bullish overall on these. I've got a stop loss trailed below structure here. So if we come down and fail at support, then I take profits, move on. I would say in terms of the stock market, where do I get bearish from here? Somebody asked me, Nick, where do you start to look more cautiously at the S&P 500, NASDAQ? It's really easy. It's this level here, right? This level was my line in the sand. We held beautifully. We continued to march higher. Bulls are still in control of this market for now. If you break this support, then I start to take profits. And if you're talking about actually flipping to bearish price action, I would say we would need to break this level because that would give you like a lower high syndrome. But I don't see that right now. And I'm not making that predictive call that I think the top is in by any means. Right now, overall, markets still look supported by some key aspects that we'll pull up here. I wouldn't say that I'm like outright buying the market at these points, and I'll tell you why. We've recently seen a lot of, let me see, crowd sentiment put call ratio. So if I look at the put call ratio, S&P 500, we also made some changes to this page. I got rid of the price along the top. I know some people won't like that, but I will say this. I think having a simpler put call ratio view is actually cleaner looking and easier to follow for people who are, watching along here. Anyways, put call ratio here, still in no man's land. You've had kind of mixed sentiment here in the last few days for SPX. Let's just take a quick look, see what gold sentiment is like. Gold sentiment is starting to get high on the put volume, close to a bit of bearish sentiment prevailing. That would be more of a contrarian bullish signal for me. So if we can get put call to spike higher, I may look for some bullish setups there. I am already long gold. Let me see. I am long gold currently. Let's see where we've got. Just past it. I'm long gold currently. As long as we can hold this area here, gold has been a sleepy town recently. It's done a whole lot of nothing the last few days. It's come back to this level of resistance, and it's just chopped around here. If we cannot break to the upside, if we can't make a move like that, then I'm going to just take profits on the move. So we're in consolidation. If we break to the downside here, specifically, like if you get something like a hawkish rate cut tomorrow, for example, that could send gold lower. If that happens, I'm going to take profits. I'm not saying I think that will. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I do generally think that the Fed will lean a little bit on the dovish side, paying mind to the jobs market. But we'll see. That's why I'm still long gold. I still think that the jobs market does need some help. We can see it in the data. It's very clear that the jobs market it's not perfect. It's not absolutely terrible, but it's also not great either. Let's take a look at it really quick, line by line. Wage growth is at 3.8%. This is better than expected. 3.8% wage growth. The nice thing here is that it does outpace CPI, right? So 3.8% inflation. I'm sorry, 3% inflation is less than 3.8% wage growth. Now, this can feel dissimilar because certain prices are going up a lot more than 3%. But remember that the CPI is an aggregated number. So sometimes people, feel that CPI is like really, really off from the mark. But it depends which good you're looking at. If you're talking about grocery store prices, that's going to be different than like airfare, right? Airfare has actually been in decline, which is nice. Like you can travel for cheaper recently. Not like massively cheaper, but it's one of those things. Like certain things are moving up in price, other things are moving down. Like for example, TVs over the last 20 years have gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. That factors in to the CPI. So if you're talking about like grocery store prices or things like that, that can be a little bit confusing. By the way, I do want to add, this is another thing I would love to add to Edgefinder is further breakdowns on the CPI. Like, because you have like shelter, auto sales, things like that. I think it would be cool for us to look deeper into the CPI and add some more features within that to Edgefinder. So that will probably come. I mean, we're always adding new new economic metrics, things like that to watch. So CPI year over year would be an interesting one to break down further. Yeah. So anyways, wage growth on an aggregated basis outpacing the CPI, which is good. That's good for the consumer. What's not so great for the consumer is ADP numbers were a big miss. Unemployment rate ticked higher, right? 4.4%. So we're rising unemployment rate, ADP number. Now, I should say this is not at alarm bells level, 4.4%, but it is rising. The trajectory matters because, again, the Fed will start to say, hey, jobs market's hurting a little bit. There's low hiring going on. We know that. While we may not have a complete, massive layoffs happening, we definitely do not have massive hiring going on, right? When we take a look at the NFP report, you can see it here, right? It's trending lower. Number of jobs added has been lower and lower and lower. ADP numbers, similar here, right? You've had a downward here and even ADP going negative a couple times here recently out of the last 6 months. So you are seeing some signs that the jobs market is very, very slow. Now, slow doesn't mean, it's absolutely dead. Now it's dead in terms of hiring, but true dead would be lots of firing and no hiring, which we just haven't quite seen yet. But the Fed is playing a game where they're saying, okay, if we don't cut rates and start to kind of buoy the jobs market through lower interest rates, we very well could go into very negative layoffs, low hiring, etc. So the Fed is playing a game here where I think they are going to cut interest rates to administer to that. All of this concern, right? This idea of like, okay, we're in a tough jobs market. The Fed's going to cut interest rates. I think generally continues to support bullishness for gold. And that's why I remain long myself. So that's where I'm at with it for now. Dollar index here still looks a little bit weak. You've broken this downward structure, a little bit of a double top setup here, and looks like we may be forming some kind of retest of this resistance point. Let's see how that plays out. Again, greatly depends on the narrative tomorrow from the Federal Reserve. But based on what I just discussed, I do lean kind of more on the dovish side tomorrow, thinking that they are going to pay mind to the weakening jobs market. So that's my thought on things. I do have a bearish outlook on the dollar index for now. I have a bullish outlook on gold. NASDAQ, S&P 500, I'm sort of just trailing stops. I'm kind of neutral on them, to be honest, at this time. I bought the dip because crowd sentiment, I thought, got a little too extremely bearish. But now I'm just riding the trend. The big picture is still to the upside with the S&P, the NASDAQ, et cetera. We hit that 100-day moving average. Bulls are still in charge here. Again, I mentioned earlier, I would get more constructively bearish on this if you were to actually break support and start to move lower. So we just haven't seen that yet. Price action wise, I think still looks, you've got the long-term trend still intact. I don't want to fight that until, or I just don't want to fight that, right? I want to wait until, if I'm going to get bearish, for things to actually show weakness. My sources say the edge finder is the reason for rising unemployment. Most people find their edge, they're less reason for them to be employed. All right. We're creating new jobs is what you mean. We're creating traders instead of traditional jobs. It's an interesting theory, that's for sure. Look at silver, by the way. Silver's up almost 1% today, continues to be a monster here. Very little pullback on silver. I think it is a bullish reading on Edgefinder. Let me just see. Yep, silver is a +6 within Edgefinder. Sentiment looks strong. Technicals look good. Economic data is a little bit mixed. Let's see. Gold also. Gold getting a +5. Sentiment readings, lean bullish. Technicals. And by the way, when I say lean bullish, what that means is we're looking at institutions and we're looking at crowd sentiment. Crowd sentiment is a bit of a contrarian indicator within the Edgefinder scoring. So when we see, like, for example, and we could break this down further, we just go to the top setups page. On the top setups full view, I know it's a little bit smaller, a little harder to see. We look at the commitment of traders data and crowd sentiment for sentiment scoring. So when we isolate this really quick just to metals, right? We have silver and gold getting bullish readings. COT data is where we're getting some really good scoring. Crowd sentiment is also contrarian bullish for silver. Let me show you that. So if I go crowd sentiment put call ratio and we look at silver really quick, there you go. Look at this. Silver, and this is, again, why Edgefinder is what it is. It's very cool because it just found this for us. If we didn't have the top setups algorithm, we may not have seen this today. This is pretty interesting. The latest options flow has shown crowd sentiment getting really pessimistic on silver, which in Edgefinder land is a contrarian bullish signal. So when you have everyone rushing to buy puts or everyone rushing to buy calls, these extreme thresholds that you see are contrarian signals within Edgefinder scoring. Does that make sense? If that breakdown in sentiment scoring made sense to you, can you just do me a quick favor? Give me a 1 or a yes in the chat. I'm trying to do better on my channel about outlining the mechanism behind Edgefinder, the scoring behind Edgefinder. So when silver is getting a +6 reading, it's looking at sentiment indicators, technical indicators, and economic data indicators. Sentiment is giving us a really solid signal. This is telling us that institutions, through the commitment of traders data, are very bullish, and crowd sentiment is getting pessimistic. Sentiment looks really strong for silver right now, suggesting bullishness. Seasonally, it's a good time of year where silver tends to do well. The trend is to the upside. We can see that very clearly on the daily chart. This is the utility of Edgefinder. It's scanning all that stuff for you. Manufacturing PMIs also were weaker than expected for the US. That's a bullish signal for silver. So thought that was kind of worth mentioning. We also have retail sales numbers came in soft. Inflation came in cooler than expected. Remember, less inflation is good for silver. And also, this looks wrong. Hold on. Did I catch another problem? PCE. PCE has been giving me troubles here this week, guys. Let me just check that this is, I'm going to confirm my suspicion. So PCE came in lower than expected. That should be good for gold and silver. Okay. PCE came in surprised to the downside. That is good, meaning less inflation. 2.8% versus 2.9% expected. This should be bullish for silver and gold. Why? Because it's bearish for US dollar. Softer dollar typically is bullish for metals. I mean, we are really breaking down the fundamentals today. So PCE year over year was a surprise, a positive surprise in inflation, lower than expected. Now, what error did I mention? Well, look, silver and gold should be getting more positive score due to PCE numbers coming in lower than expected. PCE year over year, you can see our scoring matrix is actually giving negative points here. That is wrong. So I need to fix that. I'm going to write that down really quick because I do this every day. I mean, I use these streams as testing funnels. Give me 1 second. Okay, so it's just PCE year over year. Metals scoring is off. Metals scoring. Okay. See this book? That's my book right there. All right. And that book, I write down all my tasks for the day and then I knock them out and then I go home and then I do it again the next day. And then we do it into continuum until Edgefinder is running my entire life, doing my grocery shopping, eventually we'll get there, man. Eventually. This is the best overview of Edgefinder I've seen yet. Thank you very much for that. Look, I'll do more of it. I just don't know. Help me out in the audience. Do you want more of this? Give me a yes or a 1 in the chat if you want more of this type of analysis. I mean, I'm going into the weeds of it with Edgefinder scoring, breaking down sentiment. If you want deeper breakdowns, it slows me down. So give me a 2 if you want me to, like, I don't know, flip through charts faster. Give me a 1 if you're like, I like these really in-depth ones. So precious metals look solid and they actually should have a higher score. That's, again, so let me recalibrate. Silver should be a +8. Flip this around to a +1. That adds 2 points total. right? Because we go from -1 to +1. That should be a +8. Silver and gold should be even stronger. So that is an error on my part that we will get corrected. We were working on PCE scoring yesterday. It was giving us some bugs. Clearly, there are still some bugs to work out. We will get that fixed, and it will be better by the end of the day. One day, Edgefinder will become self-aware. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. One day, Edgefinder is going to make me breakfast in bed every day. It's going to take my kids that I don't even have to school. It's going to drop my cats off at the vet, get them checked out, bring them home. I'm just kidding. This would be crazy. Anyways, so update on my positioning. I got 3 trades to just rapid fire show you guys, and then we'll go into our next show segment with Marco. By the way, we decided to do something. We decided to extend our discounts that we're doing through the end of the year, just because we had people who have been still waiting to get money together to purchase the Edgefinder, and we don't want to price them out. So we decided to do our holiday discount just through the end of the year. Things are pretty quiet in markets. So if you would still like to get access to Edgefinder, we are doing the 40% off discount through the end of this year. We just decided to extend that. I spoke to my team yesterday and they were like, yeah, we still have people who are waiting. So I'm like, all right, we're just going to extend it. Things are pretty quiet between now and end of year. Well, I take that back. Things are interesting this week. We have a lot of potential volatility. So we'll see. Anyways, if you want 40% off the Edgefinder, we'll drop the link here in the chat down below in there. We can also, James, if you don't mind changing out to our different QR code for just a second, if you'd prefer, if it's easier for you, if you want to speak to a support team member about getting set up with a payment plan on the Edgefinder, we do also offer that. So if you want a copy, here's your chance. Grab it for discounted prices. Scan the link below. Infomercial, 100%. You should buy the tool. It's worth every penny. If you are looking to take your macro trading to the next level, buy a copy. This is a sales pitch. It's 100% worth it. NASDAQ continues to pull back here a little bit this morning. Let's see if we do pull back, if we can, as long as we can hold this, I'm fine to stay in the trade. So that's trade number 1. Trade number 1 is I'm still long the NASDAQ with a stop loss trailed. We'll see. I think we have potential to squeeze higher into year's end. We know that we have seasonality on our side here. So if we go to seasonality, annual seasonality, pull up S&P 500, same thing as the NASDAQ. You can see historically speaking, this time of year is typically very good for stocks. That so far has been the case. We'll continue to stay with the trade for now. And I will, of course, get out of the trade if we roll over here and actually see price fail to hold support. I still think bulls are in control on the higher time frames. Until that changes, I'll remain long. Okay, next trade is gold. I'm also watching silver. I wish I was in silver. This thing's a beast. I've been waiting for pullbacks on it. Gold, I am long. I mentioned I have a very boring trade going on right now. The thing has not moved in a week, but my stop loss is below this kind of area that we jolted into this consolidation zone. We jumped up just to kind of go nowhere. But if we break through this level, then I am taking profits on the move. If we can get a break through these highs, I'll trail stops. And I do think that we have potential to squeeze higher. Depends what happens tomorrow with the Fed. If you get a bit of a dovish tone from Jerome Powell, administering to a weakening jobs market, which I think is likely the case, we'll see. I think gold can continue to move up. If I'm wrong, I take profits. If I'm right, I trail stops. And we continue on to the final trade that I wanted to share with you guys. I am long euro pound, bit of a currency trade here this morning. And I made an announcement inside of the Discord yesterday. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. I got to go real quick because then we're going to pass over the show to Marco. But I did this little announcement. So if you know my trading well, if you're like really close follower of my stuff, then you know with currencies, I do a lot of dollar cost averaging. I've done it for years, and it's been a very successful approach for me in trading currencies. However, very transparently, it's been really hard to share those trade alerts with members inside of our Discord. It's a confusing topic for people. I'm getting constant DMs about it. Like, hey, how do I manage risk with this, position? And how do I approach DCA and all this stuff? And so I've actually decided to pull back on sharing my trades as DCA trades or dollar cost averaging approach. I love doing it. I will continue to do it privately. It's how I prefer to trade FX, but I'm making an adjustment for members where I'm sharing my trades with take profits and partial take profits and uh, strict stop loss levels, just because I think it is more friendly to the usability and the followability, I suppose, like the shareability of my trade ideas inside of the Discord. I think it makes a little bit more sense for people. So I made a post about that. Clearly, there was a strong reaction from members, which is great. Hey, my primary goal with the service is to help traders learn by sharing my thoughts and opinions. It's not a blind copy service. Let me reiterate that over and over and over. The Signal service is not a copy paste, make trillions of dollars. It is a genuine, hey, here's my trading ideas. And if you want to, read along with my work and thoughts, feel free to do so inside of the Discord. That is also, by the way, on super sale for our holiday discounts right now. So if you want 40% off the Edge Finder, 40% off the VIP group, or if you need payment plans on any of it to split it up so that you can get in access today for a really low cost, simply click this link, speak to a support rep, and you can get access to the group for low cost, or scan the QR code, whatever's easiest. All right, guys, up next, we've got Marco taking over the stream to take a look at some charts with you guys. Stay tuned. He'll be right on just after this. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in for a second and let you know a little bit about today's live stream sponsor, DNA Funded. DNA Funded has very generous profit sharing, up to 90%, and 3 different unique challenge types. For those looking to get funded, they also have speedy payouts, unlimited trading days on the first and second phase of their challenges, a very wide list of different things you can trade with over 800 different assets tradable, and maybe the most important component, a very experienced team behind the whole operation. So if you're interested in learning more about DNA Funded, click the link, check it out, see if it's right for you, and make sure to do your own due diligence to see if what they have to offer fits your trading style. For 20% off, you can use code A1T20. Again, that will be 20% off any of their challenges you'd like to check out. Thank you again to DNA Funded for sponsoring today's live stream. Now back to the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to my segment of the stream. So, news, I got a new microphone arm, but I didn't know that you have to get a specific microphone arm for a specific model because it's all about the weight. So essentially my microphone is pretty light, but this arm is for a pretty heavy microphone. And now the moment I touch the arm, it basically does this. So I apologize if it keeps flying higher. I need to attach some weights to my microphone to not have it explode in my face. But anyway, getting into the markets, let's see what has been happening. Essentially, the dollar is kind of flat during this let's say last few days. It's December, so December is not the most active trading month in the year. It's a bit less active, there's a bit less activity, but this week should be pretty active in terms of news. So Monday was pretty, let's say, clear. Tuesday we had the Aussie cash rates kept the same. I need to do some post-event analysis for that to see if there's anything hawkish about the event, or if there was anything hawkish about the event. If we go to the Aussie dollar, there was some upside on the Aussie, so the Aussie is appreciating today, and on the Aussie yen as well. So looks like there was some hawkish commentary, which I'm gonna have to check again after the stream. So we got that. We got the Bank of Japan Governor Ueda speaking, which, well, it kind of produced a little bit of bearish price action, but not a lot. I would still say we are flat on the day, so that was sort of a nothing burger. Then we have the JOLTS job openings right after my segment. I don't think this is going to be really volatile. The thing that everyone is watching is, of course, the federal funds rate. Okay, so the Fed, the economic projections, the statement, and then the press conference. That is what everyone is watching. myself included. So yeah, that is the game plan, or that is the most important. Some other stuff that is important as well is the Bank of Canada rate statement, the overnight rate, the press conference, and then on Thursday we have the Aussie employment change, Aussie unemployment rate, Swiss policy rate, press conference, very important. USD unemployment, I don't think it's gonna be that important, and the GDP for the GBP. One thing that is pretty important to mention, I have been pretty bearish on both the CAD and the GBP. So both the CAD and the GBP I have been pretty bearish on. I have sort of flipped my view to now being sort of neutral to maybe even bullish on the CAD, because the CAD is really catching a bit. CAD is really getting some pretty good data. So if you check out USD CAD on Oanda, you can see that the CAD is really appreciating against the US dollar. Yes, there is some dollar weakness included in here, but the CAD has been getting some really good numbers, especially when it comes to the unemployment rate. So if we take a look at the unemployment for the CAD, you're going to notice it's slowly coming down. So it's slowly coming lower from 7.1 to 6.9 to now 6.5. That is pretty big. That is pretty important. As far as the UK goes, we had the UK budget, which turned out to be sort of a nothing burger. There's nothing extremely concerning about the UK, so there's no major reason to sell the pound. And that also flipped my view. So my favorite pair to short was the GBP Aussie, GBP AUD. Still moving lower, so still working out quite nicely, since the Aussie is a pretty strong currency, and especially with this event that turned out to be more hawkish than expected. But I don't really have a super clear pound view. On the pound US dollar, the pound definitely appreciated in value quite a lot. So yeah, just I don't think it's the right play right now. My favorite currency pair is NZD USD, because of the flip. So the RBNZ, the Central Bank of New Zealand, has flipped from being dovish to hawkish, from rate cuts to possible rate hikes. And you know what else is interesting? Right now, the Fed is sort of the only central bank announcing rate cuts, doing rate cuts. There will most likely be a rate cut now in December, or tomorrow, basically, and there will be quite a lot of rate cuts planned for 2026. So it's a sort of a divergence between most central banks and the Fed. What does that mean for us Forex traders? Well, it means that we may get some nice trends against the dollar. Essentially, that the dollar is going to lose value against the other currencies. So I'm in euro dollar, so far in profit, but pulling back a little bit. I'm in NZD USD, so far working out pretty nicely, and I'm just monitoring some other currencies, seeing what I can buy or sell. Aussie dollar is looking pretty interesting, had a massive explosion up. The main problem I have on this daily chart, that it's sort of still stuck in a range, so still looks a little bit flat in my opinion. NZD USD looks a lot cleaner. So silver and gold. Silver is also on my watch list. Silver just does not want to produce a pullback. So we're getting a repeat of this right here. Massive explosion, no pullbacks, minimal bearish price action. So that seems to be the event on silver right now. That's a problem, because I need to see a pullback to get in. So I need to see a better price. I need to see the price be close to the 20 MA, or maybe hit the 54 level, hit this support level, and then I would consider getting in on some possible buy setups. Okay, so on silver, looking for a pullback, but looks like it's just gonna go without me. Are there any clear fundamental reasons that silver should explode? Well, of course, it is the expected inflation in 2026 with the massive rate cuts that are coming. But I would say it's also a lot of speculation. it's an explosion in price. Just people are getting in on the uptrend. It's sort of the same story as you had on Bitcoin. So it's a buying frenzy and people just want to take advantage. They want to get in. If you're looking for Christmas presents for your family, girlfriends or boyfriends, you should consider getting physical gold or physical silver, because for 2026, I'm expecting a bunch of inflation. So anything that you get them now will probably be worth like 20 or 30% more by the end of 2026. And that is a great gift to give someone. So just an idea. Now let me take a look at what you guys are saying. So let's see. Hey Aaron, how are the challenges going? The challenge is, this is my DNA account, 2-phase funded account. So I passed phase 1, passed phase 2, 50K size. Currently I'm in minus $79 loss. So I have 2 trades open, one on the euro dollar, one on the S&P. Both trades, or the euro dollar is running in profit. SPX is unfortunately in a loss. So the SPX seemed to be pulling back a little bit. Not the best story, but again, just 2 first trades on the account. So you can see the equity curve, how it's running. I just got the account last week, I believe. Yeah, last week. And grinding it out, trying to get a payout. And again, these are just 2 trades. So even if I take a loss on both positions, I still have quite a lot of room to hit the max drawdown, because on this particular account, I'm risking 1% per position. So if I lose 2 trades, it's going to be minus 2%. I still have minus 8% to go into drawdown. I think it'll be fine. Just I have to be patient. I have to keep following the plan, keep executing. And this is traded only using ChatGPT, by the way. So I'm using purely ChatGPT trade signals for this particular account. Now, if you want to get funded, if you want to get more capital, one of the main issues that retail traders have is they don't have enough capital. They may actually have a trading edge. They may be able to make 10, 15, 20, 30% per year, but making 20 or let's say 15 to 20% per year on 5K or on 10K is nothing. In monetary terms, it's nothing. So you need a lot of capital in order to feel winning setups, in order to feel like you have actually done some substantial or made some substantial gains at the end of the year. If you're looking to get funded, you can check out DNA Funded and you can get 25% off with our code A1. So live. Okay, this is the code. A1 live gets you 25% off any funded challenge. So if you want to get funded, make sure to check it out. I'm using them. Didn't have any issues. I love the platform. I love the execution platform that they are using, which is TradeLocker. In my opinion, the best platform to execute trades, TradeLocker. FX Bashi, Marko Zdravo, pozdrav iz Hrvatske, FX Bashi. Joshua, hello, welcome. Carlos, hello. Flying microphone, yes. So the moment I let it go, just goes up. Max, hey, hello, welcome. Your mic is flying like your equity curve. Seems to be that way. I don't mind it. If my equity curve wants to fly like this microphone, I'm all for it. This is going to be gold. I can tell the microphone is bullish. Nas has some selling pressure on that opening. Mario always brings the entertainment. Who's Mario? Let's see the NASDAQ. So let's check it out. So S&P and the NASDAQ seem to be a little bit red. I just think it's the calm before the storm. So investors are not stupid. Big players are not stupid. Money managers, hedge fund managers, pension fund managers, they know that the Fed is happening this week. So everyone knows it. Usually before such a big event, before such a substantial event, you're gonna see some more flat price action. You're gonna see some more, let's say, calm price action in the markets before the actual big move, before the actual event happens, because people are still waiting it out, seeing, will they actually cut? Will it be a hawkish cut? Will it be a dovish cut? What will Powell say? Really important, because we already had 2 rate cuts. So we already had 2 rate cuts on the DXY. First one on the 17th of September. Second one, I believe, the 29th of October. Both times, the US dollar actually appreciated in value, which is pretty interesting to see. So both times, Powell did what is known as a hawkish cut. They made a rate cut, but Powell flagged inflation as being problematic. He flagged inflation as being sort of elevated. So that's why you got a move. That is why you got a move to the upside on both occasions. Will the same thing happen again? We will see. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely could happen again. What I'm really wondering about, the thing I'm really watching, is the future projections. They're going to give us the path of the interest rate. So the interest rate path for 2026. They're going to basically tell us, look, we plan on cutting 3, 4, 5 times. We plan on having the interest rate by the end of 2026 be, let's check it out. So Fed Watch Tool. They're going to tell us by the end of 2026, we plan on the interest rate being, I don't know, 300 to 325 basis points. And then you know that they're pretty dovish, and you know how to trade that sort of an environment. You know that you should, let's say, buy the euro dollar, you should buy the NZD/USD, you should buy GBP/USD, Aussie dollar. That's your game plan. Equities, what do equities want? They would like lower interest rates. They would like interest rate cuts. So I do believe we could get some bullish price action after the event if the event turns out to be dovish. So if the event turns out to be very dovish, if we do get a rate cut, if we get a lot of rate cuts planned for 2026, I think the Nasdaq and the S&P could appreciate higher. Not by a lot. I don't think that the S&P is going to hit. I know some targets from some experts were 7K, so 7,000 by the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen. Today is the 9th of December. The Santa rally kind of should already be in place, so there should be massive bullish price action, which there isn't. There seems to be a bit of a slowdown. I don't think we're going to hit 7K by the end of the year. I think if we go back to the all-time highs, if we go back above, let's say, 6,933, it'll be a stretch. So that would be an awesome achievement. In my opinion, we could get a bit more bullish price action, but not a lot. So I'm not exactly eager to get in on buy setups. I'm not hunting buy setups right now on the equities. Let's see. My EuroCAD shorts are relevant after all. Yeah, so looks like EuroCAD shorts. EuroCAD shorts are definitely in play. With all of this latest strong news out of Canada, the CAD is just gaining a lot of value all over the place. So all across the map. Let's see. I'm with you, Sluggy, on EuroCAD since 1.627. Okay, so from this level, well, that's a great entry. Definitely a great entry. Thoughts on USD SEC? It's less common. It's outperforming euro dollar buys. Marco, since you're also on CAD long train, which is better, EuroCAD or CAD Swiss? I'm not confirmed on the long train, but I would say I just don't know about the Swiss. I'm just not 100% certain on what is exactly the reading on the Swiss. So if we go to the CAD Swiss, let's see. Top setups. Let's see what the Edge Finder says. Then we should get more clarity. So EuroCAD, was the score. Neutral, and it's number 3. Let's see, CAD CHF, CAD Swiss. Neutral -2. So I would say, not sure. Not sure. I don't like either of them, if I'm being honest. Marco, what is your take on gold? Sure, we can do gold. How does that prompt traders to buy into the dollar? Not sure what is your question. News in 10 minutes. Yes. So we do have some news at 4 p.m. my time, JOLTS job openings. I don't think it's going to be really market moving. I think most of the market is waiting for the Fed, me included. So just everyone is waiting for the Fed. It is the thing to do right now. If you're a trader, if you're an investor, you need to know what the Fed is planning to do. The US dollar is the biggest currency in the world, reserve currency of the world. Everything in the world is revolved around the US dollar. So that's the most important part. But gold, let's check it out. So I already told you on silver, I am looking for positions. So I'm looking to get in. Just a second. Yeah, basically I'm looking at silver, but I don't want to buy these highs. I don't want to buy this explosion. I don't want to get in at the all-time highs. I want to get a pullback to, let's say, the 20 MA or this support level or the 54 level, and then I would get in. Then I would buy. For gold, second issue that I have right now in the top setups, I'm not sure what is the reading, but it keeps switching from neutral to bullish. Gold is bullish right now. Okay, that is good. For silver is bullish as well. Okay, that is very good. So both are bullish. That's good for buy setups. Gold, I don't like as much because in silver, it seems a lot cleaner with a lot more momentum, with a lot more movement. Silver is at all-time highs. Gold is still not that close to the all-time highs. So gold seems to have lost a little bit of momentum. Maybe it has been a bit overhyped. Maybe all of the buyers have been exhausted and now it's time for a bit of a flat correction or a bit of a range-bound price action. We have had long periods of this price action. See, here it happened, here as well. And this is just a massive uptrend. Look what happened here. See, so just corrective pullbacks, flat price action, going nowhere. So gold right now, just for the momentum part, just the price action, just let's say the technical analysis, it doesn't look as powerful as silver. But I'm bullish. I'm definitely bullish. The Edge Finder is bullish. There's going to be massive spending, massive inflation. Trump's big beautiful bill is coming in 2026. Inflation is already elevated in the United States. How do I know? Well, I can take a look at the CPI. So CPI USD inflation is at 3%, and they're going to cut interest rates into high inflation. So I think we're going to get a cut tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we will get a cut. By December, we will get even more rate cuts. Okay, so investors know this. They're not stupid. They're expecting inflation. The best way to protect against inflation is to buy gold, to buy silver. Great investments. Okay. Okay, so grown-ass kid says, you said hawkish rate cuts push the dollar higher. I don't really get that. Okay, I know it's a bit confusing, but the event was a cut. There was a rate cut both on the 17th, see, and on the 29th, rate cut. But then Powell came out with a press conference, and in that press conference, he said that they were very concerned about inflation and that they are not looking to heavily pursue rate cuts in the future. So in those two examples, what mattered the most was not the actual rate cut, it was the press conference. It was Powell's speech. Powell was hawkish. That's why you got a rate cut, which was dovish, but then the future projections or the speech about the future was hawkish. That's what they call a hawkish cut. Okay, rate cut, but with a hawkish press conference. It could happen again. It could happen tomorrow. There's a big chance it's going to happen tomorrow because it's Powell's way of producing rate cuts. So he doesn't want the rate cuts to have massive movement in the markets. He doesn't want the rate cuts to massively move the markets. So he kind of does a mix. He does a rate cut with a hawkish press conference. But it's not just about the tomorrow's meeting. It is about 2026. And the document that we will get tomorrow, the future projections, FOMC economic projections, will tell us exactly what is their target rate for the end of 2026. Is it a lot of rate cuts? Is it small amount of cuts? Is it no rate cuts? That is what I want to see. So I hope that clears things up. I know it gets a bit complicated, but you need to watch out not just for the number, but also for the press conference and for the future projections. Future projections, by the way, they come out 4 times per year. So you have 8 Fed meetings, but only 4 times per year do they actually release a document with the future projections. What do you think about the Canada dollar futures? I haven't checked it out, so I cannot really be of help. Silver said buy. Yeah, silver just explosion with no pullbacks. Classic silver price action. But I'm not the one to be chasing the highs. I'm not the one to be getting in at the all-time highs. I want to pull back. I already had an attempt. So my last attempt was on the 10th of November. I got taken out by a couple of points, and then there was an explosion in price. But part of the game. Gold is going up. The ICT algorithm is just waiting for me to short, but I won't let them have my 0.01 lots. Let's check out gold. Yeah, be very careful because ICT is on the ready and he's ready to turn on the algorithm in order to print millions of dollars from the markets. In the process, we as retail folks that don't trade ICT, we get absolutely crushed. So pay a lot of attention to what ICT is doing because he's even more powerful than an institution. That's all a joke, by the way. ICT is a scammer. His stuff doesn't work. I never met anyone who trades ICT who is long-term profitable except one guy. He's called Jade Cap, but I'm not 100% sure that he is long-term profitable. I would like to see some track records from him, but if he should be the most profitable ICT trader. I love silver. I don't pay attention to gold as much. How big of an impact will the job report have? I don't think it'll be a huge impact. So it's coming in 2 minutes. Silver is flying. GBPUSD shorts, Euro Yen doing well since yesterday. GBPUSD shorts, I would not recommend. So GBPUSD, for me, right now at least, seems bullish. GBPUSD. The pound has switched from being a super bearish currency to now a bit more bullish, but the dollar is definitely bearish. The dollar is definitely losing value. You cannot argue against that. Euro GBP. I don't have a clear stance on the Euro GBP. I prefer the dollar pairs right now, so anything that is connected with the dollar. It is a bullish bias, but I would say both currencies are bullish. If we look at the short term, let's see the short term for EU. bullish, and for the pound, it's going to be a little bit in the red, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a little bit in the red. This is just the short-term data, but you need to take into account the autumn budget, which came out pretty uneventful. But the key conclusion from their autumn budget report, which was a super important event, the key conclusion was that there's nothing terribly wrong with the UK financially speaking. So there's no huge reason for concern, and most of the selling has already happened on the pound. So euro appreciating against the pound, I don't think there's a lot of opportunity for this to go up. So I'm not even considering it. Let's see. Okay, we're getting the news. Has it come out? Let's try to refresh. Still pending, so we will wait it out and see. What's going on with USD JPY? Nothing much. Or is there some movement? I haven't seen it. The JPY. Let's take a look. Also, let me see if someone is after me today. You want to stream? Okay, so we can go on for 1 to 2 minutes more. Looks like it's going up. Interesting, very interesting stuff. We may not get a rate hike for the yen in December. The big news at the beginning of last week was the Bank of Japan Governor Ueda, who was hawkish, who mentioned possible rate hikes for the yen in December. He had another speech today, but looks like it was not that hawkish because the yen seems to be continuing to lose value. I'll do some research post the live stream. If there's anything super important, I'll update you in the Discord. So if you want to get trade signals, trade analysis, trade breakdowns, fundamental event breakdowns, make sure to join the A1 Discord, and you can use my code, which is Marco. So it gets you a pretty hefty discount on the Discord. Okay, JOLTS came out. Let's see. Whoa, this is quite a beat. Number of job openings during the reported month. Actual number greater than the forecast is good for currency. So this looks to be good for the US dollar. Let's look at the DXY. Yes, DXY is gaining some strength, gaining some momentum. My dollar short positions seem to be not doing so well. S&P is flat on the day because it is bullish. I mean, job openings should be bullish for the stock market. Euro dollar, though, doesn't look the best. Euro dollar, I mean, I'm still in my trade. I still like the trade, so I'm keeping my position. Stop loss is still at the original place. It's mostly a bet on dollar weakness, not really euro strength, but more dollar weakness. But it doesn't look as good, and the story is not as good as on NZD/USD. So euro dollar not producing the sort of price action I want to see right now, but I still think long term the dollar loses value, and I still believe the probabilities are that this thing continues going higher. So fake stats. What do you mean by fake stats? We'll see about that a bit later. Maybe they will update the numbers. So that's about it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I will be streaming every single day for the rest of the week. Good luck in the markets. I'm mainly focused on USD shorts. I'll be closely watching the Fed meeting tomorrow. I think it's going to be a rate cut with maybe some hawkish commentary. But the thing I'm really watching for is the future projections for 2026. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching today's A1 Trading Show. Be sure to subscribe and to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Want to get put on the nice list this year? Then make sure you check out the A1 Stock Box. That's all for today, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Ho, 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 ho.